Guerschon Yabusele's departure from Philadelphia is becoming one of the more controversial situations of this Sixers offseason. The former Sixers power forward took to a podcast to open up on what exactly went down between him and the Philadelphia 76ers, and it isn't exactly what we would have hoped to hear. I do want to break down who I think is wrong in this situation, why once again I think Daryl Morey deserves a little bit of heat, why everyone needs to settle down a little bit about this Guerschon Yabusele conversation. Now, to dive right into things, I do want to start off with, obviously, we got the report from Shams Charania a little bit ago saying free agent center Guerschon Yabusele has agreed to a 2-year, $12 million contract with the New York Knicks, plus a player option, sources tell ESPN. The Knicks negotiated the new deal with agents, blah, blah, blah. We know the spiel here. Now, this was sort of the start and end of the story to me, that I was frustrated that he went to the New York Knicks. Again, if I could pick 29 other teams in the NBA, those would be the answers for who I would prefer him to play for. I was ready to be a Guerschon Yabusele fan from afar, rep a Guerschon Yabusele Spurs jersey, but that will not be happening as he walks up to the heart of New York to join that cockroach fan base. Now, to keep it on the exact situation here, I do want to discuss a little bit my number one message here for Guerschon specifically. Just stop with the fight in the comments, man. Like, there's no win for this that he continues to jump on. And to give an examples of what specifically I'm referring to, that we can see some of this being translated from French here, but we see from Guerschon his exact reply here. This fan says he could have earned a better contract with a good spot in the starting five. This smacks a bad career choice. And Guerschon replies to that saying, "You don't even know what you're talking about. It's killing me. Do you know the offers that I had? So please keep your judgment." And again, there is just no winning in this, but I did want to pull up the exact clip of him sort of speaking about this and give into my thoughts from here. So shout out to Guerschon for being as open as he is, but again, I don't think this is quite in his best interest, but let's hear what he's got to say and then go from there.
Leaving Philly was not a major key. I was thinking to myself, oh my God, like I could have go back, I didn't really have any issues over there like I want to leave. No, I was like, okay, if they want to resign me and then they give me something good, I will come back for sure. And if they want me to leave, then I will leave. I didn't have any hard feeling or hard time. So, but they almost didn't make really like an offer. So they did, but it was really really low. So to be really transparent, so I felt like, oh my God, you guys, it seems like you don't really want me to stay, kind of. So it was a situation, but no hard feeling. I'm always thankful, for them. They give me my second chance. It's everything goes from them. I will always be thankful to be able to be part of their franchise, to win there and then play the season. So I will thank them from the bottom of my heart. Me and my family really happy about everything they did for us. So it's no hard feeling. It was just at the time I was thinking like, okay, maybe they don't want to, and then the Knicks came with a good offer, but.
So obviously a lot to get into there, and I do just want to start with my interpretation of things here. So what exactly that I think he's saying, I kind of discussed in my last video how the order of operations, my belief in this, or my understanding of the situation, is from the Sixers' perspective, they basically have to sign Quentin Grimes before they could offer Yabusele the deal that he signed with the Knicks. Essentially, the MLE is the type of money that we're talking about, around $6 million. I believe he got a shade more with New York, so maybe that was the difference there, but I don't even think, as he alluded to here, they even got to the table to hammer out those specific details. But because of that lack of, or that order of operations that need to be established, it didn't allow the Sixers to commit to Guerschon in that. Now, I am not in disagreement with the Sixers' perspective that they should be prioritizing Quentin Grimes over Guerschon Yabusele. If it was a vacuum, do we want this player or do we want that player? The answer is Quentin Grimes there, that it's a far more important skill set, a guy that is far younger, has a little bit more trade appeal, and is going to get a better contract for a reason here. That is not to say anything negative about Yabusele. I'm disappointed in how this went down. I think that the best case scenario, or how things should have been handled in a way that it does not sound like it was that Daryl Morey was completely open about that he said those discussions, those word for word, that we need to handle this so we can know the exact dollar sign here. And when he says that they did offer something but very low, my assumption there would be Daryl was like, okay, so we can hand you a veteran's minimum right now, which of course we know is not exactly the price point that he was looking for and got from the New York Knicks there. We can hand you a veteran's minimum right now, or if you wait a little bit, we should have more money once we get this Quentin Grimes situation handled there. That's probably what the situation was and the offer that he was a bit offended by. I don't have any hate in my heart for Guerschon Yabusele. In fact, I think he's a sweet guy. He's a nice guy. I think it's cool how important it was to him to show that he has love for Philly. He has no hard feelings. He's appreciative of the second chance that they've given him. And I don't blame him in this situation for getting his money. Let's keep in mind the context of the state of his career. This was a dude who flamed out of the NBA in his first go round, got a second chance on a minimum contract to return last season, and is in a spot where he should be looking to maximize his earnings. This is his time to strike when the iron's hot. I cannot fault him for taking a larger offer when the Sixers never got to the table. That, if anything, is more of an indictment on the Sixers for not handling this correctly here. Now, again, there's been a lot of back and forth, a lot of discussion about this, and my guy RB Philly Take getting right in the mix here, that he tweeted out, "This is exactly what I said, and they told me I was crazy. The Sixers lowballed Yabusele and barely made him an offer. He wanted to come back, but was essentially forced to leave. Brutal." And now, also my guy Harrison Grimm getting in the mix saying, quote, "Forced to leave is a bit strong wording of the situation, in my opinion. He wanted to secure his money, and he wanted to do it ASAP. I don't fault him for that at all, but it's clear where his priorities were here." And RB said, "If they completely lowballed him on an offer, yes, he is essentially forced to leave. They could have offered him the TMLE, which is pretty much what he took from the Knicks." And Guerschon replied, "Finally, somebody with some sense." So it does feel that the truth is somewhere in the middle of all this. That I think in his heart of hearts, Guerschon would have loved to come back to Philadelphia. That I do think he enjoyed his time here, enjoyed playing with the Sixers, but not to the extent that he should be risking other money. When you have a clear offer on the table that you're comfortable with taking, and he did, I can't fault him for taking that rather than hoping that that offer materialized from the Sixers' perspective. I do think the Sixers deserve some heat from this. I still don't understand the holdup on the Quentin Grimes contract, that the money he's searching for, this offer that he could be getting from another team, simply does not exist, that there is not another NBA team with the level of cap space that they could lure him from this. Brooklyn sacrificed theirs by trading Cam Johnson to bring in Michael Porter Jr. and did a couple other moves that did add to their financial situation. The Pistons were in the mix, but then blew that by signing guys like Duncan Robinson, and obviously the Malik Beasley situation complicated that a bit. The point being here, that Quentin Grimes is going to be back with the Sixers. So why is there the holdup on getting these exact numbers? I've even seen the theories of maybe he just opts into the qualifying offer, plays on an $8.6 million deal this year, and then is an unrestricted free agent next year. I don't care. I just want to complete. I would prefer a multi-year long contract, and then we figure it out down the line with him. I can't imagine that we are splitting hairs that specifically based on the state of how this season gone. And frankly, there is not that much of a difference. There is not that much wiggle room that there should be in discussion here. So I'm just kind of perplexed for why it was taking so long. But for Yabusele, and to circle it back to this conversation and put a bow on this, I think we can leave this how it is from here. That this is not a guy that, like, betrayed the fan base or anything like that by taking this. I hate the Knicks, will always hate the Knicks, and I think they're a fake good team. I think that he's going to a worse roster. I straight up do, and will continue to stand on that. I understand that they went to the Eastern Conference Finals. I understand that they theoretically have had more success here, or they have had more success in recent years here, but I still don't buy the way that that franchise has built things up, and I do think that Jalen Brunson is not good enough to lead a team to a championship. There is not a lot of evidence to support that Joel Embiid is at this point in the game, but I still wholeheartedly feel that this team, this Sixers team, as fully constructed, if they are healthy and if they are complete, which are huge ifs that we have not been able to pass to this point, that I do think they're in a better spot in a wide open Eastern Conference. But for Yabusele specifically here, enjoy time in New York, man. This isn't going to be a situation where he should be booed coming back to Philadelphia, or there is. I loved having him on this team, and I think both these things can be true to an extent too, that yes, he was important to the Sixers team and would have been an upgrade, that if he was back, I think there's a likely chance we're talking about him in that starting lineup or potentially the sixth man off the bench type of role here, that the power forward specifically is a position of need and so important next to a big man like Embiid, who is not the strongest rebounder there. I do like the swings that they've taken to replace him with Jabari Walker, with Trendon Watford. I think those are good guys, the right sort of swings you should be taking, but not a sure thing in the way that I was confident that Yabusele was. So both these things can be true, that he obviously would have been useful back on this team. I also still think there is a portion of the fan base that has overrated who Guerschon Yabusele is. He's a good player. He's a fine player. Wish he was on the Sixers roster, but not a guy that we should be losing sleep over, that he's not a part of moving forward. So we'll be wishing Yabusele the best. I hope he balls out in 78 of the 82 games next season. Of course, not the 4 against the Sixers there. I hope he does contribute for this Knicks team, and I hope he finds a real NBA long-term home outside of New York so I can wholeheartedly support the guy moving forward. But everybody can take a bit of a deep breath on the situation. It happened. The Sixers fumbled it. If we're going to sign blame one way or another, it is cool. I think Yabusele was able to speak his mind, open up, and kind of clear his conscience to an extent here. And everybody can just take a quick chill pill that this is not a fault of this guy. He got his money, and I can't help but I can't hate on that whatsoever. He accomplished his goal. He got paid. Shout out to Guerschon Yabusele. So let me know what you guys think about all that. Do you have any issue with any things that Yabusele has said in here, or do you think this wholeheartedly falls on Daryl Morey directly? Drop those in the comments below. As always, appreciate each and every one of you guys in. Make sure you're smashing that subscribe button if you have not already. Drop a like on this video here, and we'll be back talking to you next time right here on Sixers Digest. Peace.